Hello! Today we're going to be making a textured cup with feet. My name is LaDara McKinnon. I'm a teaching artist at Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina. This video is presented by Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina and made possible by the North Carolina Arts Council. The pottery terms we will be going over for this project is texture, rim, and foot. The materials we're going to need for this project is clay, water, fork, stick, texture tool, a noodle, and a rolling pin. Let's get started. First, we're going to roll out our slab of clay. Make sure that we roll both sides of the clay. We want this to be longer, so I'm going one direction right now to make this a longer piece of clay. Once the clay is at a good width, I'm going to roll it the opposite way to make it a little bit wider. I'm not worrying about the edges of my slab because I'm going to be cutting out a rectangle to form the walls of my cup. Now I'm measuring to see if my slab is long enough. Yep, it's longer than need to be. So that means that I have a good amount of edge that I'll be able to cut off. Since my slab is long enough, I'm going to use the stick to measure out a rectangle. I'm putting a divot into the clay so I can have a straight line. I'm only cutting one side, so when I go and measure to see if my slab is long enough and where I need to cut, that I don't cut off too much. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom of my mug. I'm pressing my stick into the clay to get that imprint. To do the top part, you want to make sure that your mug is about 3 to 4 inches from the bottom. Go ahead and press that stick into the clay, and then we're going to go ahead and cut this off. Now I'm going to roll out the slab for the bottom of the clay. When cutting out the bottom of your cup, I'm going to place the noodle right on top of the clay. When I cut this out, I want the circle to be bigger than my noodle, so I have enough of extra clay to wrap around the cup. I'm drawing out the circle before actually cutting it out. Now it's time to add texture to our cup. Texture, the feel of visual surface that is rough or raised. Texture can be made out of most things that is around the house. I have this lovely fabric that I love. I'm placing the fabric about 2/3 down because I want to use stamps near the top. Place your fabric about 2/3 down. Gently press the clay in with your hand. Then use the rolling pin to gently roll the texture into the clay. If you pull up the texture and the texture imprint is not on the clay, just go back and keep rolling it. Here are some of my favorite stamps. I'm placing a stamp inside of the clay and gently pressing down and going in a circular motion so I get the whole imprint of the stamp. Wow, look at that texture. Now it's time to wrap the slab around the noodle. Put the texture side down. I'm going to roll this at a vertical angle. I want the noodle in the bottom of my clay to be even. To close the seam, I'm measuring how much the edge of the slab overlaps the other. Now I'm going to use one finger to smooth out that edge where it overlapped. I want this to be an imprint. so I can use my finger or I can use my thumb to push that clay down. Make sure your two fingers are on the edges so your clay doesn't get too wide. Now it's time to close up that seam. We're going to slip and score. Once the seam is closed, you can gently tap it on the table to make sure the seam is attached. To make our cup look seamless, we're going to put our texture tool right on top, wrap it around, and gently tap it on the table. Now I'm going to re-stamp where that stamp was, so that texture pops out again. The texture looks awesome. The rim is a little uneven, but we will fix that in the end. Now it's time to attach the bottom. We're going to slip and score our circle in the bottom of our cup. You want to place the cup right in the center of the circle. Once it's placed correctly, you're going to gently roll the cup on its edge. This is causing the bottom to attach to the top, and it's going to give us a really nice ripple effect on the bottom of our cup. The ripple is causing an uneven bottom, creating more texture. Now it's time to make feet for the bottom of our cup. A foot or feet, the base of a pottery piece. Filling up 4 balls. I'm only going to be using 3, but I just want to make sure I have 3 balls that are equal in size. Once I have 3 balls that are equal in size, I'm going to take my stamp, press it right on top of my ball. That's going to squish it down and also give it an imprint. To attach them, I'm flipping them over into a triangle shape. I'm going to go ahead and slip and score. When placing the cup on top of our feet, you want to make sure the triangle is centered. Then you're going to gently tap it on the table, and that's going to make sure that they are attached. I'm gently taking out the noodle so I can go ahead and clean up the rim. Rim, where you put your mouth to drink out of a cup. To clean up the rim, you're going to use a little bit of water to gently rub around the rim to make it smooth. To fix the part that is uneven, you're going to place 2 fingers in the inside to support your clay. Dip your sharp end of your stick inside of the water and gently cut into the clay. This should take about 2 or 3 times to get that extra piece of clay off. You don't want to rush. And there you have it, a textured cup with feet. I hope you enjoyed this video.